Welcome, my brothers. This is Brother Jamala, also known as Brother Soldier, and coming back to you with a similar topic about right and wrong. And this is mainly geared towards leadership. In Isaiah 9:16, it says, "For the leaders of this people cause them to err, and they that are led of them are destroyed." Interesting scripture. And there's a lot more to it, but it's not just enough to struggle with our own demons, struggle with our own uh, sense of wanting to make the right choices, wanting to go forward in life and make your life count. It's almost like it is not enough when the leaders who you have given your trust to as a people, you've given your allegiance to, that they will see you through, that they will be a voice in the higher powers, a voice that's heard of the voice that comes from your very own heart and soul. The people, they say, United States says government by the people, for the people, of the people, or of the people, by the people, for the people. Those people that are up there are supposed to represent what the people need, what the people voice. But what is the leader's role when the people are wrong in what they want? Do they go along with it because it's a majority rule? Or do they stay with a moral code? Freedom with restraint. Freedom with limitations. Is that really freedom? Freedom to do whatever you want, or freedom to do things according to nature and what God's law calls for? Whether you don't have God or not, you can still make some good calls towards nature, fall within the respects of respecting nature, how nature deals with things. So I'm not going to get real detailed with this. I'm just going to stay on the top. They that have an ear, let them hear. They that have eyes, let them see. They that have a mind, let them perceive and understand. So I'm not going to spell out everything on this because I'm going to give you credit that you know a lot of things. But you know where I'm going with this. The leaders do cause the people to go astray. So it's not just enough of you navigating your way and trying to stay with the God and trying to understand right and wrong. It's not enough because the leaders are now bowing to Satan, as my Muslim brothers say, Satan. They're bowing to Satan. Now, you brothers out there that call yourself Satan worshipers, that's what I'm calling it, because we're talking about, we're just going to be talking about trying to get up out of things that are holding us in darkness. So it's not just enough, because now you have your leaders who supposed to be qualified to lead are now bowing, buck dancing, and becoming weak-kneed to every kind of immorality, issuing up straight out of the pit of hell. And if you don't want to hear it that way, I'll just say it this way. They're changing laws and they're changing things to where even the people who are trying to be good as they can be, that have caused no problems in the community. They haven't been involved in drugs, and they've been being upright, loving their families, paying their child support. The people that do right. What are you going to do about those people? They never burdened you for food stamps. They may have been able to keep a job. They didn't burden you with overpopulating the prisons. They didn't burden you with hurting members of the human race and sending them to the hospital. They didn't burden you. with being expelled from school because of truancy or what you call delinquency? What about the people who are not social deviants? The leaders causing the people now to wonder and second guess what is right and what is wrong. So this is basically a message for the common man, but it's also a message for these leaders. These leaders that have you letting you hear what a lot of people want to hear, but not what they need to hear. Just people that have itching ears, that got preachers preaching what they want to preach to them. Leaders and congressmen telling people what they want to hear just because they want to vote. They're going to bow to the kind of wickedness that you would never have seen them buck dance to years back. You go back to the 50s, the 60s, on back, upstanding families, upstanding principles that we held to. Now the whole world is all divided, and you can't see that the devil is taking this place into a spiraling downward path of destruction. Even leaders have to be checked now. So I'm going to tell you what's happening. You the people that don't believe, and I'm talking to you people, especially the ones that believe. I know you're saying this brother soldier's doing too much Bible thumping. This brother's going too. Well, we're in a time now when we can't really stay too silent too long because it's spiraling out of control. And we know that we've deviated from God for the most part. So this is what happens. And so when we see our leaders doing this, we have to make some decisions. Because if you love your people, you teach and you let your people do what's right, even though they don't want to do it right. You teach them what's right, even though they may not agree with you. Because that blood, if you don't warn them, if you don't tell them, if you don't teach your children right, you don't teach them the truth, and they make these decisions out here, their blood is on your hands. So you have to do it and release that. And then they can make those choices. Like I told you before, these young generations coming up are probably not going to stand for the stuff that some of these leaders are doing. But anyway, I digress a little bit, but I want to stay on the leaders stepping away from their responsibilities and accountability to the people. If the people are standing on the truth, remember I said right and wrong almost is irrelevant now because they've been switched on many scales. So if they have the truth, and if you have the truth in you as a child of God, or you have the truth in you as a law-abiding citizen, you have a truth in you as just an upright man, an upright woman, you're not a very religious person, but you know right from wrong. And your leaders are now turning things around. Can they really be fit in the mind and in the heart to be your leader? If they're bowing to things that you are overcomer of, who is the real leader now? Are they the leaders, or we become the ones that have to take the lead and they have to take a seat because they can't stand up for what's right, for what's truth? So anyway, I can go on and read other scriptures, but the point is, we're in trouble. We're in more trouble in the nation called America than it has ever seen in its life. And the leaders are helping, not all of them, but many of the leaders are yielding and giving in. Some leaders have not given in and not yielded to, and they're being ostracized because of their stand on principle. You know, I saw something when they were choosing the Supreme Court, one of the Supreme Court justices, a female. I'm not going to call her name, but I was just watching how they were being very scrutinizing of her Catholic views to see if she's going to be fair to the people who want to take life from people who haven't even entered into this world yet, from little kids. Now, I'm not going to get on that abortion platform or anything like that, but I just saw how they were checking to see if she's going. I think that she should be able to stand on what she stands on, believe what she believes in. And that's it. And that's part of the American society. Just because you want to do things that other people don't want to do don't mean that you have to pick somebody that's not religious, that's not holding to a moral code. That means you're discriminating against them. So that's reflective of the whole society. But we want to stay in the context of standing on truth. I keep wanting to say that word right. No, we want to stand just on truth, because no lies are the truth. So what are we going to do with these leaders? What happened with these leaders? Now, this is what I was getting ready to say. I kind of jumped off track here. What you're getting ready to see is those who really are true soldiers and champions, whether they're faithful to the country, faithful to their country, faithful to their people, faithful to their families, their tribe, their village. You're going to see those people come forth. And you're going to see those believers who are true believers. They're going to come forth with a harder message and a harder drive to correct the wrongs in society. You're going to see prophets come out of the woods that you never knew were there. And I'm not talking about claiming just end times type prophet. I'm talking about prophets of truth. Soldiers of truth coming on the scene. Elijah the prophet once was discouraged, and he said he wanted to commit suicide. He wanted to go because nobody else was right. I believe I have the right prophet. If it was Elijah, but I say Elijah. And he said, the Lord told him there's 7,000 that haven't bowed, that haven't yielded. He said, I got people that you don't know about. So I'm going to say that as an encouragement to people that are walking out here. There's other people out here that the world does not know us out here. There's going to be soldiers coming out of the woodworks. Leaders are going to rise to the occasion. Unknown leaders are going to come to the forefront, because you can't just keep going down these paths. If a ship is going down because there's certain people on it, and you on the ship, you got to cast them overboard. You got to do something to save the ship. So if you have to abandon ship, you abandon to one of those little life-saving boats and get away from it and let it go down. Whichever way, you're going to be the type of person that's trying to preserve life while they're trying to destroy it. There's some people that hate some countries that are trying to do right, and they're sabotaging it. With immorality, they're running it down in the ground. And we sitting back and watching this stuff happen. Man, and I'm speaking to everybody. I'm speaking to Africans, Europeans, Hispanic, alike. I'm speaking to all y'all. So the leaders have stepped off, and the leaders have shown themselves in many cases to yield and to bow to those things that should not be. So what we need to do is, as Daniel stood in the lion's den and as the Hebrew boys stood in the fiery furnace, we're going to have to make a stand to where it's going to have to come to the point where the people have to take charge. Now, lastly, I want to jump off of this by saying, if we are planted and remain on truth, then we will be immovable, and nothing's going to be able to shake us. So I want to leave a small prayer that, Father, in the name of Christ, we want to thank you for this day. We want to thank you for opening our eyes to those things that are wrong and helping us go forward as we need to go forward, helping us be the men that we need to be, the women that we need to be, the child of God that we need to be. And let us not go into temptation, but deliver us from evil. In the name of Christ, amen. My time is out. Man, know thyself, according to Imhotep, great ancestor of African heritage. Peace, love, God bless you.